How to become what you truly are in 7 steps. The essence of 13 years of self-exploration. Written and read by Bernhard Kutzler. You carry countless programs within you that generate a large part of your behavior and thinking. Most of them emerged because you copied the people around you when you were growing up. Every child does that. These programs are your mental prison. If you want to become what you truly are, you must free yourself from them. The formula is, free yourself from what you are not. Then what remains is what you are. I started doing this in 2011. In the following, I will tell you what I did, summarized as a method. The first 3 steps will prepare you. Although they seem obvious, you must do them consciously. Step 1. Accept that about 99% of your behavior and thoughts come from programs. Do you doubt that it's 99%? The Greek philosopher Aristotle said, 95% of what we do is habit. Habits are programs, so even 2,300 years ago, people were 95% controlled by programs. Today, modern media program us almost permanently. Therefore, we are much more controlled by programs than the ancient Greeks were. Step 2. Choose to know what you are without your programs. You must really want to know, with an attitude like, I'll try it and see what happens. You won't achieve much. Step 3. Accept that you must free yourself from being controlled by your programs. To do this, you must find and master them. From now on, I call this project Becoming Free. Step 4. Take enough time for becoming free. This is time alone in which you work mentally with and on yourself. This mental work is self-exploration. I will explain how to do it below. How much time would you invest in a project like learning tennis? You would probably spend several hours a week and occasionally attend tennis camps. A camp is days or weeks that you dedicate entirely to the project. Do the same for becoming free. Set aside a few hours every week for it and organize occasional Becoming Free camps. A Becoming Free camp should last at least a week, preferably several weeks. If possible, spend this time away from your usual surroundings. Avoid social contact and media consumption. Engage in self-exploration and spend much time in nature. Nature supports you in becoming free. Self-exploration is intense mental work. In the first phase, you do exercises such as the ones I suggest at the end of the article. In the second phase, you must find the exercises yourself. This is how you do it. Imagine your programs are corpses weighed down with stones and sunk in a lake. When a program is ready to be found and mastered, it will surface. A surfacing can show as thoughts, feelings, actions, pain, diseases, accidents, encounters, incidents that you observe, headlines that catch your eye, words and expressions that you pick up, etc. Observe your thoughts, feelings, actions, and your surroundings. A program that is ready to be dealt with is indicated by a strong signal or several adjacent weak signals. Pay attention to unusual things in your life and to patterns. If you notice something, explore which program this could point to. For example, if you observe an argument between 2 people, find out whether you have an argument with someone, perhaps even yourself. If you suddenly experience blurred vision or a gradual deterioration of your vision, ask yourself what you don't want to see. If you fall because your foot got stuck, ask yourself where you got stuck in life. If you have inflammation in your body, ask yourself what makes you angry and why. Keep a diary of what you notice. Look for patterns. Some people say you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts have nothing to do with you. But that's not true. Your thoughts have everything to do with you, namely with what you are now. Only when you accept your programs as a part of you in the present can you find and learn to master them. These programs generate 99% of your thoughts. That is why you can find many of them through observing your thoughts. Therefore, observing your thoughts is part of self-exploration. Alongside your thoughts, your body is your most important guide. It speaks to you constantly. You can find examples of how my body guided me in my article Why I Socially Isolated Myself for 3.5 years and What Came Out of It, and in my book Being Free, Get Out of the Box. In fact, the entire universe supports you in becoming free. Therefore, you must observe everything. I explain why this is the case in my article Intuition is Much More Than Just a Sixth Sense, and in my book Consciousness, Its Nature, Purpose, and How to Use It. Step 5. Observe yourself as thoroughly as possible. Once you have found the program, pay attention to when it strikes. That is, when it creates a behavior or thought. At first, you will probably only notice after the behavior or thought has occurred. Over time, you will recognize the striking program earlier and earlier until you recognize it before it strikes. At this point, you can stop it. And it's important that you do. You stop it by willfully behaving or thinking differently. This will often not be easy, but it is the key to freeing yourself from this program. Every time you behave or think according to the program, you strengthen it. Every time you act or think differently, you weaken it. The more often you willfully behave or think differently, the weaker the program becomes until it is so weak that it no longer affects you. Step 6. Integrate self-exploration into your everyday life. Be aware of your actions and thoughts as thoroughly as possible so that you stop programs that you have already found and analyzed and find more programs. Be aware that programs control virtually everyone around you. Be aware that your environment is constantly reprogramming you. Be humble. By walking this path, you are not better than others. You are different. The more programs you master, the closer you get to your truth, the more challenging social interactions become, and the more enjoyable alone time is. People will ask you what's wrong with you. You may be called names because you now say no in situations where you used to say yes, or vice versa, and because you no longer allow yourself to be manipulated and misused. Step 7. Are you satisfied with what you have achieved so far? Do you want more? Imagine a cheetah that was born in a zoo. It has the potential to run at 75 miles per hour, 120 kilometers per hour, but it has never developed this potential because it doesn't need to run that fast. It doesn't catch prey because an animal keeper feeds it. If the cheetah wants to develop its full potential, it must leave the zoo. It must give up its comfort zone and take risks. Imagine a human as a grain of sand. Social programs create dependencies. They are like a glue that binds humanity into a giant lump of sand. Imagine this lump in the upper part of an hourglass. It cannot go down and, therefore, it cannot go into the future. The grains of sand can only get down one by one. In the same way, we can only free ourselves from our programs alone. Freeing ourselves from thousands of years of social programming is a life task. After over 13 years, I have freed myself from many programs and have come closer to my truth. But I'm not done. Here are a few exercises to get you started with self-exploration. Exercise 1. For each of the following ingredients, think about how important it is for becoming free. Egoism, discipline, curiosity, seriousness, courage, dedication, perseverance, patience, focus, and humility. Exercise 2. How important is getting free to you? What are you willing to do and give? Is there anything you want to keep? What does it mean if you want to keep something? Exercise 3. Make a list of your roles, for example, child, mother, partner, teacher, doctor, or cab driver. Answer the following questions for each of your roles. How well do you function in this role? What are your tasks? What advantages and disadvantages does this role bring? Choose something that happened recently. How did your role influence your behavior in this situation? How would you have behaved if you had a different role? What would it be like if you no longer had this role? Exercise 4. Make a list of what you own. For each item on the list, think about what it would be like if it was no longer in your life. More exercises are at the end of some of my articles and in my book, Being Free, Get Out of the Box.